Hello friends, welcome to another video of History of English Literature. In this video, I'll discuss Anglo-Norman period, also known as Middle English from 1100 to 1500. In this video, I'll discuss background of Normans, Norman Conquest, changes in England after Norman Conquest, changes in English literature, changes in English language, literature of Anglo-Norman period, and famous poets of that age. Brief background of Normans. Who were the Normans? So on the northern coast of France, directly across from England, is a district extending some 75 miles back from Channel known as Normandy. So basically these Normans, a group, a tribe of people who evolved from that area known as Normandy. And the Normans king was William, known as William the Conqueror, who defeated the Anglo-Saxon king Harold at the Battle of Hastings at 1066 and conquer England. And then defeat of Anglo-Saxon, this age started known as Anglo-Norman Period or Middle English. And Norman conquest brought enormous changes in England in English literature and linguistics. So when in 1066 Edward the Confessor died childless, and England was again faced with the choice of a successor, and Edward had he divided England into a few large districts, each under the control of a powerful earl. So earl refers to a lord, you can say a type, yes, who was given a kingship over a specific area. So the most influential of these nobles was Godwin, who was the Earl of West Saxon earldom. And the day after Edward's death, Harold, who was the son of Godwin, was elected king. So now the king was Harold, remember. So William the Conqueror, who was a Norman, so Duke of Normandy, who was a second cousin of late King Edward. So when Harold did not consider William's order, only by force could William hope to obtain the crown. So what actually happened? First, William the Conqueror, who landed on south coast of England with a formidable force. His landing was unopposed, and Harold, who was king of England at that time, who was occupied in the north of England, meeting an invasion by King of Norway, who just want to another claimant to the throne. And but unfortunately the king of Norway failed, and Harold triumphed over in battle. And Harold reached a point between the Norman host and London. He drew up his forces on a broad hill at Senlac, not far from Hastings, and awaited William's attack. So battle began between William the Conqueror and King Harold in the morning, and Englishmen fought bravely till afternoon, and Normans attacked very dangerously. And Harold, apart from fight, was killed during the battle, and according to tradition he was pierced in the eye by a Norman arrow. So battle was won by William the Conqueror, and Normans had control over England, and two of Harold's brothers were also killed. William the Conqueror had won the Battle of Hastings, and on Christmas Day William was crowned the King of England. So what changes take place after William became king? And the Norman conquest brought changes in literature as well as in political history of England as well. And Anglo-Saxons authors were then suddenly and they were displaced. Okay, and many of English higher class has become killed on the field. Who escapes were treated as traitors, and Norman prelates were gradually introduced into all important positions in the church, all dominated by Normans. And what actually happens at that age, the Normans, they are French speaking tribe, and they impose their own language, French. So French became the language of upper class, and English started to deteriorate, and English become less popular, or become the language of lower class, and French was used by upper class. And then Norman introduced a foreign type of literature in England, which is French. French language was used in churches and monasteries, and English language was thrown in background, which means it was degraded and its value degraded, and very few people used to speak, the lower class ones. So after Norman conquest, the literature read and written by Englishmen was completely transformed as sentiments and taste of English rulers, which were Normans. And Normans empowered scholars to revive knowledge, chronicles to record memorable moments, and this period is also marked by disappearance of old English poetry as well, and the religious poetry was also disappeared, and the changes in language also takes place in Middle English period. Yes, there is also a video available on difference between old, middle and modern English on my channel. I'll just provide you the link above. And Middle English period was marked by momentous changes in English, and changes more extensive. So there was changes in English language in all aspect with respect to grammar, pronunciation, as well, in English language having been thrown into background and used by lower class, and some changes are in decay of inflectional endings, the noun. So grammatical, basically these are grammatical changes, loss of grammatical center. So all these are detailed in that video. One link is above. And French influence is much more direct and observer upon vocabulary, and thousands of French words introduced to English. And the changes from French to English, they transform much of their governmental and administrative vocabulary and impose their own ways and fashions and way of living. And literature of Anglo-Norman period include the romances. So it was most popular form of literature and noticeable for their stories rather than their poetry. And very famous is the Canterbury Tales. These romances were borrowed from Latin and French, and they deal with the stories of King Arthur, War of Troy, Alexander the Great. Okay, and Canterbury Tales, written by Geoffrey Chaucer. So there is detailed video on that as well on my channel. I'll provide you link as well. And it's a very famous work by Chaucer, and no literary production of Middle English, and none so potentially attractive. Then some miracle plays are there, which are also known as saint plays. These are basically stories from Bible. These plays become very popular from the growth and development of Bible stories. And another important play is miracle play. So this drama develops a cycle of sacred history, beginning with creation of man, his fall, banishment. All of these are stories from these miracle play stories from Bible. For example, fall of man, creation of man, as discussed in Bible. And another important are miracle plays. So miracle plays, the in which the writers use allegory, so it creates to tell a story of man's life and afterlife, and it use allegories, symbolism as well. So these are miracles plays. And then come the morality plays. So in this form of drama, uniform theme is the struggle between powers of good and evil, and personages were abstract virtues, and each acting and speaking in accordance with his name, and plot was built upon the contrast and influence of human nature. So basically allegory was their symbolism in the mark of moral plays. And morality play, okay, let it. And famous poets include Geoffrey Chaucer 1340 to 1400. And Chaucer was the you can say hallmark of English literature at that time. So French dominated our English, and all the writers prefer to write in French to get the attention of the rulers, who were the French people, Normans. And he was the one who started to flourish literature, English, writing in English. And he was also known as father of English poetry as well. And his famous work, the Canterbury Tales, which is a tell a story, is a collection of 24 stories of pilgrims. Yes, there is, I'll discuss it in a separate video. And so these pilgrims represent different sections of contemporary English society. Basically, it was a satire on their society using different characters. And there are three periods of his work. The first period, he imitated French poets and long poems such as Le Roman de la Rose and Book of Duchess, which was an elegy. And second period, inspired by Italian writers, and he wrote Parliament of Fools and satiric dialogues. And House of Fame, his masterpiece of comic fantasy. And third period, which is known as English period. In this period, he wrote in English, and he wrote Legend of Good Women in heroic couplet, and Canterbury Tales, his greatest achievement. And Williams Langland from 1332 to 1386, and he was a greatest poet of Middle Ages, and his poem A Vision of Pyres and Plowmen, it's a classical work and satire on corrupt religious practices. And Langland is a satire poet, and he wrote about feudal system of his age, and he represent lower class in his poetry. So these are some of references: A Critical History of English Literature by B.R. Malik. I'll provide you that book as well, and notes, link in the description. Hope you understand. Thank you for watching.